Hey guys, my name is Annie. Welcome to my channel, Eat, Drink, and Be Reading. And today I want to talk about my May TBR. You guys, I cannot believe, I can't even, that I am filming my May TBR right now. The fact that I'm just a few days away from May is insane. This year has flown by, which really surprises me. I kind of thought the days would feel really, really long and the months would feel really, really long, but by the grace of God, it is flying by, and now I'm talking about May, which is crazy. So let's get started. I'm really excited about some of these books. A couple of them, the first two, because I had hoped to read them in April, did not get to them. The first book I read in April just took forever for some reason. And then I had a book come available from the library at the end that just was probably just the right length for what I needed, and I wasn't sure I would get to have enough time for either of these books to actually really appreciate them. So I'm moving them to May. I'll talk about them quickly and then get into the few others that I'm hoping to hit. So here we go. The first one is Persuasion by Jane Austen. This was the next book I was going to pick up in April, but as much as I really I've enjoyed Jane Austen in the past, I know it's not necessarily a super quick read. It's not super long, but with the slightly older language, it just and wanting to actually appreciate it for all that it is, if there's satire and all of that, I want to be able to appreciate Persuasion, and so I didn't want to feel like I needed to rush it at the end of April, and so I'm gonna pick it up in May. I think I said last time that I actually really don't know a whole lot about the plot of Persuasion, just that I've heard that it's several people's favorite, that I know their favorite Jane Austen, so I'm really, really excited to pick it up. The other one that I hoped to get to in April but didn't, and we'll pick up in May, is Finding the Flavors We Lost, From Bread to Bourbon, How Artisans Reclaimed American Food by Patrick Kuh. The author is a James Beard Award winner, and the James Beard Award is for food writing. So I don't think that he won it for this, but I trust that at least it's going to be written well. Yeah. Really, that's most of what I know. It's talking about the kind of the history of American food and how we got to today, and maybe how we get back to what it used to be. You guys know this is Eat, Drink, and Be Reading. I love food. I love drinks. I love reading about food and drinks, and so I'm thrilled. Okay, now to the new titles. Guys, one of these days I'm going to listen to how to say her name, because I keep talking about Ruta Sepetys. That feels like that's very wrong. And every time I talk about one of her books, I say, I don't know if I'm saying her name right. And one of these days, I'm going to find out before I actually film. This is her book, Out of the Easy. It's a couple books ago, I think, for her. I have read Salt to the Sea and Fountains of Silence by, I'm just going to call her Ruta. I feel like that's not super professional, but that I can at least know how to say. So I've read Salt to the Sea and Fountains of Silence. I really enjoyed Salt to the Sea. I adored Fountains of Silence. It was my favorite book last year. And so when I saw this one in a used bookstore, I had to give it a shot. It is takes place in New Orleans. There's, I think, a mystery involved. The mysterious death that leaves Josie, the main character, tangled in an investigation. And I think she is planning to get out of New Orleans, but maybe is getting sucked back in. So I'm excited to read something just totally, it feels like it's going to be different than her other ones, but it's still historical fiction, which I love. Still young adult historical fiction, which is a really fun way to learn about history, I think. It gives us just a different perspective than many World War II or any historical fiction. I just finished a World War II historical fiction, so that's on the brain. So I am thrilled, like so excited to read this one. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. And I am actually really excited to read it outside because May in North Carolina is often beautiful and it gets warm enough that I can read in the evenings outside when my kids go to bed and hopefully like force them to play outside and me read a little bit while sitting out there with them. And this one just kind of sounds perfect for that. Okay, that's it for fiction and nonfiction, but that's it for fiction. The next book that I want to read is The Next Right Thing, A Simple, Soulful Practice for Making Life Decisions by Emily P. Freeman. A friend of mine gave me this book. She put it in my stocking. I had friends fill my stocking for me this year. And my friend actually knows Emily Freeman. And so I have heard great things about this book. I've heard great things about Emily Freeman's writing. I've heard her speak in person and on podcasts and love her voice. There's just things swirling in the head right now about next steps for a bunch of things. So I think this will be just really helpful in me wading through just the kind of craziness of my life right now. So, The Next Right Thing. For my audiobook for May, because I do tend to listen to 1 or 2 audiobooks. This one's a little bit longer, so I have a feeling it'll probably take me most of the month, if not all of it. I'll try to put a picture somewhere. It's Spain in Our Hearts, Americans in the Spanish Civil War by Adam Hochschild. I just talked about The Fountains of Silence, and that book was a young adult historical fiction about the Spanish Civil War and the years following it. I know very little about the Spanish Civil War. I love history. I was a history major. Used to teach history, but never the Spanish Civil War. I feel like I know Franco's name, and that is it. And it made me fascinated in the topic. I read a graphic novel last year based on the Spanish Civil War. Actually, a graphic memoir, excuse me. And I found this audiobook, and I've been really excited about it. I just haven't, picked it up yet. And so May, I think, is the time for just a historical narrative. Bring it on. And it's supposed to, tell the story of the Spanish Civil War through the stories of a handful of individuals, which is my favorite kind of narrative nonfiction. Giving us a view into a bigger topic through stories, real true stories of people. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about this one. And last but not least, if I have time, again, a couple of these books I think will take me a little bit longer. But if I have time, I'm going to read a food memoir. I know I'm reading Finding the Flavors We Lost, which I think will be really interesting. But this is a specific memoir book. It's called Dirt, Adventures in Lion as a Chef in Training, Father and Sleuth Looking for the Secret of French Cooking. Whew, that is a mouthful of a title. It is by Bill Buford. It's the story of a chef who wants to understand French cooking. I think he has spent time in Italy, and I think he wrote about Italian cooking, and now he wants to do the same for French cooking. This time, though, he's not alone. He has his wife and his 3-year-old twin sons with him, and so I think it's going to be a story about food and about restaurants in France, but also about taking on this life with a family. So I am really excited about this one. It was one of the Kindle daily deals several months ago, and I've been itching to get to it for a while. So hopefully I'll just do a ton of reading in May and get through all of these. All right, guys, what are your plans for May? What are you going to read? What have you been reading? Have you read any of these? Let me know. A couple of you talked about Persuasion in my April TBR, that just made me more and more excited to read it. So thanks for that. Be sure to leave comments. below. Let's build community. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys rock. Enjoy your spring. Bye, y'all.